Okay, good morning everyone. In the last class, we were discussing about the FCFS scheduling algorithm as well as the SGF non-preemptive scheduling algorithm. Non-preemptive means non-breakable, where if you are starting a process, then it will be running until unless it will be terminating. You are not going to change the particular process in between. So again, I am giving you some brief because today we are going to discuss the preemptive scheduling that will be more complex with respect to this normal SGF scheduling. So first I am giving you the example again. Suppose your bus times are given, process names are given. According to the bus time, which process will take the least time for execution, that is P4. That means in shortest job first, that means the process which is having the least bus time will be given the priority. So here the least bus time is for P4, so P4 will be running in the beginning. It will take 3 milliseconds because 3 milliseconds the time. Then second which will be selected, that is this one, that is having the value 6. Then you will select the P1, it will run for the next 6 units of time. Then P3 for 7 units of time, 9 plus 7, that is 16. Then the P2 for 8 units of time, 16 to 24. Now there is a formula for calculating the waiting time and the turnaround time. Turnaround time means completion time minus arrival time, that you can note in your notebooks. Turnaround time equal to completion time minus arrival time. Here the arrival times for the processes are not given. That means the arrival time for all the processes will be 0. So completion time will be equivalent to your turnaround time. Turnaround time for P1 is 9, P2 is 24, P3 is 16, and P4 is 3. That is the turnaround time. Completion time, process completion time minus process arrival time. Now waiting time. Waiting time means the time duration from starting to ending for which that process is not running. That means turnaround time minus burst time. That is the waiting time. Now you can check the waiting time of P1. First we are writing here the turnaround times. Turnaround times for everyone. For P1 turnaround time will be 9 because 9 is the completion time. For P2 it is 24. For P3 it is 16. For P4 it will be 3. Now waiting time. Turnaround time minus this burst time, whatever written here. Waiting time 9 minus 6, that is 3. 24 minus 8, 16. 16 minus 7, 9. And 3 minus 3, that is 0. These are the waiting times for the individual process. If you want to calculate the waiting time and turnaround time, Using these methods, you can calculate. Now, in this way, you can calculate the average waiting time for after adding the individual waiting times divided by 4, because the 4 is the number of processes here. Similarly, you can find the average turnaround time. You can add all these 4 turnaround times and divide by 4. This is not that much important. Now we are moving through the shortest remaining time first scheduling algorithm. That is the preemptive version of SGF scheduling. Currently we have discussed SJF, shortest job first. Job means process. Job and process both are same. We have discussed SJF and FCFS. In FCFS, you are taking the processes in order. In which order they are coming, you are processing those processes in that order only. In SGF, after coming every process, you are just checking which process is having the minimum burst time, minimum execution time. Then you are giving the priority to do that process. Here, it is preemptive SJF, or you can say shortest remaining time first, that is SRTF. SRTF. It is preemptive version of SJF or SJN, both are same. Whenever a new process arrives in the ready queue, the decision on which process to take to schedule next are done using the SGN algorithm. Now, this is more powerful than the SGF algorithm. Preemptive version is always good with respect to non-preemptive one. Preemptive means breakable. Here, one process you can perform multiple times. How? Let's check that. First, let me tell you that uh, this is not that much easy. You need to concentrate from the starting. Shortest remaining time first we are talking about. Suppose we are having 4 different processes, P1, P2, P3 and P4. Now here we are given the arrival times. This process is coming at time 0. This process is coming at time 1. This process is coming at time 2. P4 is coming at time 3. These are the burst times written here for these processes. Previously, we were given only the burst times, not the arrival times. That's why we assume that for all the processes arrival time is 0. Here we will not assume the arrival time 0 because we are given the arrival times for individual processes. Now preemptive SGF Gantt chart. Now we need to make a schedule out of it. Now Gantt chart will always start from time 0. Now first understand this logic. At time 0, do we have all the processes in the system? No. Only one process is there at time 0. That is P1. No other process is there at time 0 because it will arrive at time 1, it will arrive at time 2, it will arrive at time 3. At time 0, no process is there. So we don't have any point of discussion that which process will be running. Only we are having P1. That means P1 will be running at that time. So we are starting this P1. We are starting this P1 at time 0. Now What will happen at time 1? What will happen at time 1? At time 1, there are two processes in the system, P1 and P2, because P2 is also coming at 1. Now at time 1, there are two different processes, P1 and P2. And what are the burst times for these processes? The burst time for P1 is 8, but not exactly 8. It is now 7 because it has executed 1 unit of time. It has already executed 1 unit. Now remaining burst time is 7 for this process. At time 1 we are talking about. And the burst time for P2 is 4. You are having two different processes with burst time 7 and 4. Which process should go for execution according to shortest job first? Obviously P2, because P2 is having lesser burst time. So P2 will be going here. After 1, P2 will be running. Okay. Now at time 2, what will happen? P3 is also there. What are their burst times for all these three? Burst time for P1 is 7. Burst time for P2 is now 3. We are talking about at time t equal to 2. It has already executed 1 unit of time. Now P2 is remaining 3. P3 how much remaining? 9. Which process should run at time 2? Again it is P2. So P2 is continuing it from here. We are not changing P2. Now at time 3, all the processes are right. What are the different burst times? 7. At time 3, P2 has executed one more. Now remaining is 2. This is 9 because it has not executed yet. This is 5. Which process should run? Again it's P2. That is 2. So P2 will be continuing at time 4. At time 4 there is no change. All the processes are same. No other process is going to come. So from 3 onwards, you will check according to the non-preemptive schedule and you will run all those processes. Now P2 will continue because it is having 2 remaining. P2 is completing. Now P2 has finished at 5. Now which process you will take first? It is P4 because it is having 5. You are running 5. Then P1 for 7. P1 for 7, 10 to 17. You are giving time to P1. Then this 9, you are giving 9 from here. These are the things you should be managing in the shortest remaining time first. Now the turnaround time. I am first calculating turnaround times. Turnaround time means finish time minus arrival time. Finish time for P1 is 17. P1 is finishing here, not here. When P1 has completed its 8 execution time, 1 here, 7 here. So P1 finishing time is 17. 17 minus arrival time 0 is equal to 17. For P2, P2 is finishing at 5. P2's arrival time is 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. P3 turnaround time. P3 is completing at 26. Arrival at 2. 24 is the turnaround time. 26 minus 2. For P4, 10 is the completion time. 3 is the arrival time. 10 minus 3, that is 7. Now waiting time. 17 turnaround time minus burst time. 17 minus 8. How much is that? 9. 4 minus 4, 0. 24 minus 9, 15. 7 minus 5, 2. These are the waiting times for the different processes. Now here, all these waiting times are same, but the method for calculating is different. Here 10 minus 1 for P1, that is 9. 9 we have calculated. 1 minus 1, that is 0. We have already calculated. 17 minus 2, that is 15. We have already calculated. And 5 minus 3, that is 2. We have already calculated using this method. Now you need to add all these 4. Then you will be dividing by 4. That is the number of processes. You will be getting the average waiting time for this scenario. Similarly, you can find the average turnaround time also. After adding these 4, you can divide it by 4. Here you can simply see that you cannot say directly that the turnaround time for P1 is 17. For P2 it is 5. No. Whatever you are seeing is a different thing, because in previous examples in SGF and FCFS, there was no arrival time. Now we are having arrival times. That means we need to subtract the arrival time from the finishing time. Now, can we calculate directly the waiting time for the different processes with this chart? Yes. Without using these formulas, we can directly calculate the waiting time from here. How? Okay, let's check for P1. When P1 is coming in the system, 0. When P1 is completing its execution, 17. In between 0 to 17, how much time P1 was not running? In between 0 to 17, how much time P1 was not running? P1 was running here, P1 was running here. How much time P1 was not running? For this time, P1 was not running. How much time it is? 1 to 10, that means 9. For 9 units of time, P1 was not running. That means 9 is the waiting time for P1. Now talking about P2. When P2 is coming in the system? At time 1. When P2 is finishing? At time 5. From 1 to 5, how much time P2 is not running? From time 1 to 5, how much time P2 is not running? Every time P2 is running from 1 to 5. That means no waiting time for P2. P3, P3 is coming at 2. P3 is finishing at 26. In between 2 to 26, how much time P3 was not running? P3 is coming at 2 and P3 is finishing at 26. In between 2 to 26, how much time P3 was not running? 2 to 17, P3 was not running. 2 to 17 means 15 units of time P3 was not running. Now, can you tell me the waiting time for P4? Okay, let's say P4's arrival time is 3. P4 is coming at time 3. P4 is finishing at 10. In between 3 to 10, how much time P4 was not running? In between 3 to 10. For 3 to 5, P4 was not running. After 5, P4 was running. So 2 units of time, P4 was not running. That is the waiting time for P4. Now, the next scheduling algorithm, that is round robin scheduling algorithm. Before going to this round robin, I think I should give you some problem for solving. Now we are having three different processes. Arrival times are 0, 2, and 4. 0, 2, and 4. The bus times are 8, 5, 1. Now you need to make a Gantt chart out of it and calculate the average waiting time and average turnaround time by your own. If you are facing any kind of difficulty, you can ask in the next class. If you want me to make a Gantt chart out of it, you can raise your hand. Okay, today we are stopping here.